Meet the computer you can talk to. With Copilot on Windows, working, creating, and collaborating is as easy as talking. Got writer's block? Share your screen with Copilot Vision to help spark inspiration, and use Copilot Voice to have a conversation and brainstorm ideas. Or maybe you need some tech help. With Copilot Vision, Copilot sees what you see. Let Copilot talk you through step-by-step guidance so you can master new apps, games, and skills faster. Try now at windows.com/Copilot.
Vitamin Water Zero Sugar has great taste, zero BS, and obviously zero sugar. For those with zero room in their calendar, zero patience for slow walkers, those who get 0 hours of sleep on a Saturday night, have zero filter, zero given, and zero interest in grabbing a plain, boring water. Grab a delicious Vitamin Water Zero Sugar today.
Dr. Raj.
Dr. Raj. Dr. Raj Dasgupta.
The most interesting pulmonologist in the world.
Welcome to the Dr. Raj Podcast, a show all about empowering knowledge, addressing difficult topics, raising awareness, and being positive. Dr. Raj is a quadruple board-certified physician, associate professor of clinical medicine, and the associate program director of internal medicine residency. He was a co-host on the TNT series Chasing the Cure with Ann Curry, as well as a regular on the TV show The Doctors. And now, here's our show. Just a heads up that this episode features content and themes that may not be suitable for all audiences.
Hi, and welcome to the Dr. Raj Podcast. And today is going to be a very special episode. Not only because I got a totally cool and awesome guest, but because on the serious note, we're discussing a topic that always makes me tear up. Whether we're talking about the victims, whether we're talking about the families, the tears just come out. And the topic today is going to be about school shootings. And I really super wanted to talk about this because I got 3 amazing kids. And even though they're not high schoolers yet, my oldest one sometimes thinks she's in high school, but I still love her dearly. And I want to give them some great tips. And so when I had a chance to get a guest that really is going to tell me the nitty-gritty of how I could feel a little bit more confident sending them to school, it was worth it. But I want to give a couple stats first, okay? So there's been about 76 school shootings in the United States so far this year, and this is just until November. 24 were on college campuses, 52 were on kindergarten all the way to grade 12, and all these incidents left around 36 people dead, and around 103 were just victims or injured. So that's just horrible. So in the first year after the pandemic, schools were closed, so there was a decline in gun violent incidences on school grounds. But since then, there has been a stark increase in these school shootings, with it increasing in 2021, 2, and 3. And this has all jumped since 2008. We didn't even finish 2024 yet. So this is going to be super important. So today, my super special guest is going to come on, give us some practical tips and tricks to give our kids the edge. If this godforsaken thing happens to my kids or anyone's kids in this situation. So my guest today is Becca Spahr, who is the founder of the Likable Leader Coaching, where she teaches leaders the skills they need to inspire and lead amazing teams. After a 20-year career as a U.S. Marine officer, Becca became a certified life coach so she could share the lessons she learned while leading men and women in fast-paced, high-pressure environments. Becca is a certified life coach and entrepreneur who holds a bachelor's degree in Spanish from the University of Pittsburgh and a master's degree in international relations from the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy at Tufts University. Becca has worked as a human resources and manpower officer, an inspector general, an operations officer, and is a certified anti-terrorism and force protection officer, as well as a combat lifesaver. She previously founded Launchpad Life Skills, a coaching business that taught life skills to young adults in Tampa, Florida, and has now shifted her coaching focus to professionals seeking to refine their leadership skills. And with all this, let me introduce Becca, how are you doing today?
I'm so good, Raj. Thank you so much for having me.
Are you kidding me? Did I do okay with the intro?
You did. It sounds a little bit like I can't hold down a job, but other than that, it was fine.
Well, I don't know how to begin. Like, should I salute you? I mean, I should kind of salute you. You know what I mean? I'm so proud of you. So if no one knows already, Becca's actually a near and dear friend to our family. She is best friends with my wife, and she is just truly an amazing person. But I never knew all the things she did. And when we were chatting the last time she came over, I just thought she would give the most amazing tips to kids out there. My oldest daughter, Mina, just looks up to her. So this is going to be great. So are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Okay. So first question. I know you're paying the bills as this leadership coach, but today you're here to talk to all my listeners about one of your passions, which is keeping kids safe. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So yes, I do spend my time coaching people to become great leaders, but I have a lot of side quests, kind of like you. You and I have that in common. And one of them is teaching kids life skills, specifically personal safety. When I was in the Marine Corps, I did work some of the time as an anti-terrorism and force protection officer. And now that I'm a mom, I've translated a lot of what I learned in the Marine Corps into ensuring my kids and all kids and schools are safe. So a couple of years ago, I started developing an online course that teaches kids, and it's really targeted specifically at middle and high schoolers and college students, how to be prepared in the event that they find themselves in the midst of a school shooting. And I just finished filming everything and getting it all published.
Oh, wow. So, you know what? I consider this a freebie for everyone right here. So, are you going to share with us some of those concepts that you present on this online course? And if people do want to learn a little bit more, usually I ask this at the end, but where can they find this course you're just talking about?
The course itself is available on an online course platform called Udemy. It's udemy.com, and they have thousands of courses on all kinds of different subjects. So if you go there, you can just search "surviving the school shooting" and it should pop up. And I'll say just a note that there are other courses out there about active shooters, and there are also free resources that you can get on this kind of thing, and they're all good. I would say at least look at something. If it's not my course, that's okay. I would rather you just look at something, and at the very least, keep listening to this podcast, because I'll be telling you an awful lot during our chat today.
Way to plug the podcast in there. I'm going to give you a gold star for that one. I like that. All right. So, I'm a parent, so I think about what I need to talk to my kids about in terms of staying safe. And it's never the easiest conversation because, I just don't want to scare them. But I do want them to be prepared. It's such a hard balance. So do you have any tips for parents who want to have these conversations with their kids?
Yes, and believe me, I wish that none of us had to talk to our kids about this. It's terrible. But I also think that to just ignore it would be kind of negligent, because we have to acknowledge that active shooter situations do happen in this country. And because of that, we need to be prepared, and we need to make sure that our kids are prepared for it. So as parents, and I am a mom, I have two kids also. One of them is just the same age as Mina. And then I have one who's a few years older. But for other parents, I would say that you know your kids better than anyone. So you've kind of got to gauge based on how mature they are, how much of this they can handle, like what level of detail you want to get into them. Most adults don't know even what to do in these situations. Like, it's scary how many people don't know what to do, which is why they can be so deadly. So when you have a conversation with your kid, don't feel like you need to be giving your kids actual instructions about what to do. Just open the discussion, because thinking about it ahead of time is really what's going to allow you to be safer if it actually happens. Kids all know that this is happening. It's really startling to me when I talk to kids, and I talked to your daughter about it.
Yeah.
They know that it's going on. They do drills at schools. They hear about it. They hear people talking about it. They hear it in the news. However they're getting it, they understand what's happening. So A good place to start with a conversation is some questions, maybe after they do a drill at school, or you could kind of frame it in the larger context of like, what do you do in an emergency in general, not specifically a shooting. So you could ask something like, do you feel like you know what to do if there's an emergency at school? Or what do you do when you have the drills at school? What are they like? Is it scary for you? What are you worried might happen at school? And just kind of see where the conversation goes, because it's really important for them just to have the opportunity to discuss it. And they're not necessarily going to be the ones to start the conversation. So you as the parent, I think should be kind of putting this conversation on the table. And then once you start,
yeah.
if you want to get into the skills they need, it is a great idea to get your kids some actual training. But even, like I said, even just kind of thinking through it is very, very helpful.
Well, I was just going to throw in there, when did I know I wanted to do on the podcast is when I walked back in the room and you're teaching my daughter these techniques, how to break a chokehold from behind. I'm like, all right, she's coming on the podcast. I trust her, So anyways, we're saying the word kids broadly, but I want to know, there's got to be a difference between talking to a kindergartner versus a kid's in high school. Because I got my little Sadie, she's tiny and young. And I got Mina, So what tips would you give for for the younger kids? What would be something you would kind of like hedge towards?
I'd say that for the younger set, for like elementary school aged, them, the most important thing, they absolutely have to do what the teacher says to do in these situations. There was actually a situation at my daughter's school. This is before she attended. This is several years ago, but there had been an active shooter situation happening in a building that was kind of down the road, and then the suspect was fleeing on foot, and so the school knew that he was coming toward them. There were helicopters in the air, all of that. And so the teachers were out on the playground and they're telling everybody to get inside. Not all the kids listened. Some of them just ignored, or they didn't understand the urgency. So it took a lot longer to round up the kids than it should have, which of course made the situation more dangerous. Now, thankfully, the guy ended up getting into a car and leaving the area. So he wasn't, the kids weren't really in danger, but at that point, when there's helicopters and SWAT teams all over the place, they thought they were. And so for that younger set, really, really emphasize when there is an emergency, you have to listen to your teacher. It doesn't matter what else is going on, you listen to your teacher. And then on the other hand, for the teachers, they need to, at the very beginning of the year and throughout the year, teach the kids that some kind of like a phrase or like a code word or something. And that if the students hear the teacher say, this is an emergency, or whatever the code word is, then the kids stop what they're doing immediately. They don't question it, and they just do what the teacher says as quickly as possible.
Okay, I like that for the young kids. But now we're going to take it up a notch. What about the older kids? What are you going to say about them?
So once they get to be about middle school aged, they can make their own decisions in these situations.
I'm scared already.
Yeah. But even though they are like developmentally, they're starting to be able to make decisions in this kind of situation, they're still going to look to the adults to figure out what to do. But being able to make the decisions is really going to be dependent on them being able to remain calm and having a survivor mindset.
Wait a minute. I never heard this phrase before. So what is this survivor mindset you're talking about?
A survivor mindset is simply deciding that you're going to survive whatever the emergency is. It's a heavily rational way of thinking where you just identify and accept the facts of what's happening. And then from there, because you have accepted it and you can be calm about it, then you can plan a solution to whatever the problem is. So for example, you're in an emergency. First, you accept that there is danger. You are in danger. You might get hurt. You might even get killed. But once you have accepted that, you can then look for ways to get yourself out of the situation without panicking. So having a survivor mindset allows you to think rationally when under pressure, because you're already going into it. You're already empowered to remain calm and make good decisions.
Yeah, even if I'm not in the school shooting, I think I need a little survivor mindset. It sounds good in general. I'll tell you that. But give me this. So what kind of ideas, let's get a little broader here, should be part of this survivor mindset when mentally preparing for a school shooting emergency? That's a tough question.
It is a tough question. And you make a really good point, which is that we should all have a survivor mindset all the time.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I'm like,
absolutely. Just in a personal safety kind of frame, just when you're out and about, you need to have a survivor mindset. More specific to an emergency, let's think about it in that way.
Okay.
So first of all, you want to keep things in perspective and be realistic. Even though the media gives a lot of attention to school shootings, statistically, they're very rare. If you are involved in one, which is not likely to happen, but maybe it does, even if you are involved, you're still more likely to survive than not to survive. So just keep that in mind. This starts happening, you hear a gunshot, whatever, and immediately you start thinking like, oh my God, like what's happening? You start panicking.
Yeah.
But if you think to yourself, this is a bad situation, but I'm going to get through it. And two, I need to remain calm so that I'm more likely to get through it. You're more likely to survive than not. And then another one, this one to me, I think is really important. It's something that I have told myself in other situations, like it's going to be over. At some point, this will end. And statistically, most school shootings are over in less than 10 minutes. So from the first shot fired or the first, kind of action taken until it's over and the guy's either dead or the police are there to save the day, less than 10 minutes. That's not a very long time. It's going to be a scary 10 minutes, but it's not really that long time. Another thing for your survivor mindset is that you should anticipate that you might get hurt. If you're injured, you can't just fall to the ground and give up. You have to keep going. I tell my students, short-term pain is better than long-term death. You're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be scared. It's not like in the movies where you see in the movies like, oh, these guys come in and they're shooting up and everybody just gets shot and everybody's dead and laying on the floor. That's not really what happens. A gunshot wound, first of all, it's only going to kill you instantly if it hits you in the head or in the heart. Then there's a lot more part of your body that if you get shot, like it's going to hurt and it might eventually kill you, but you're not going to be dead immediately. If someone is shooting with a gun, to get an accurate shot, they either need to be very, very close to you or they need to be still, like standing still and focused. So when someone just enters into a room or a building and starts shooting, most of those bullets aren't actually gonna hit somebody or hit somebody in a way that will make them actually die.
All right. So I'm going to go a little off script here because I played a little paintball for the first time as an adult. And I gotta tell you, I mean, I'm like listening to what you're saying, and I just hope I have the intestinal fortitude and strength to do this because, the paintball hit me and I'm already in a lot of pain and they didn't miss. And I think that, maybe this is going to be like the movies and it is kind of scary. And I mean, but with all that being said, what is going to be, does it make sense that in a situation like this, that it's going to be like we see on the movie screen? And I guess give me some more insight to what that is going to be like, because I'm already scared just thinking about playing paintball or just now we're talking about real guns that are going off here.
Raj, paintballs do hurt a lot.
Thank you.
You're right.
Thank you. I hope we repeat that part over and over again. No one believes me now.
I've gotten some pretty bad bruises from paintballs before. If they hit you right, they can really hurt. Well, I think, we have to, and you're the doctor here, so you would have a better understanding of this than I would, but, there's adrenaline going on during this. And so the way that your body and mind are reacting, like humans, any animal has survival built in, that's instinctual to survive. And so when your brain is in a situation like that, it's fight, flight, or freeze, right? Mm-hmm. And so by talking about this ahead of time and thinking through this, listening to this podcast, taking a class or watching a video online or something, that's helping you to develop this mindset that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So that instead of your brain going directly to freeze, you're doing either fight or flight, and preferably first you try to get out of there, which I'm going to talk about in a minute.
Yeah. Well, I hope I get the sympathetic surge. You know what I mean? I hope it feels like someone just nailed me with a lot of epinephrine, and I was the hero that you want me to be, because that paintball really scarred me. So keep on going.
All right. So you said,
give me some insight to this stuff.
Sure. Okay. So these kinds of situations, of course, school shootings can be very unpredictable, very chaotic. But there are some things that you can almost guarantee can happen or will happen. And so I want you to think through these things, like kind of just thinking through your senses. So like, what are you going to see? What are you going to hear? That kind of thing.
Okay.
So first off, gunshots and explosions are extremely loud. If you're close enough to them, they can cause permanent hearing loss. So they're going to be loud. If you're close enough, your ears will be ringing. And that can be very disorienting. There also might be alarm systems going off, which can make loud noises, or sometimes they even have flashing lights. So that's going to be going on. There might be distinctive smells from explosives or gas or smoke grenades that either the assailant is using or maybe the first responders are using, because sometimes they will use that to try to neutralize the situation. So those might smell like burning or have kind of like a chemically smell. Another thing you might see is blood and severely injured people. That's hard to see. But you're gonna, with your survivor mindset, you're gonna push through it. If a fire alarm is activated, some of them are set so that as soon as it goes off, the sprinkler system will also go off. So then maybe there's water all over the place.
Yeah.
So those are just kind of some things you can think through as to like what's going to be going on around you. It is chaotic and it can be very disorienting.
Now, while you were talking, I'm closing my eyes. I could almost visualize it. And yeah, I could see why people easily go into the panic mode when you just have all these things going around. All right. So, but what about other, like a little more practical preparation things? What do you want to go into?
Okay, so we're kind of thinking through it in our mind's eye, and then what are some things that you can do ahead of time to make this less bad in general?
Yes.
There's a couple of things that come to mind first. So one is to make yourself a hard target, and the other one is to maintain situational awareness. And I'll talk through both of those.
Sure.
So making yourself a hard target. You can be a hard target or you can be a soft target. Criminals look for soft targets because they're easier to take advantage of. A soft target is someone who is not alert or aware of what's going on around them. They're not protected, they're not protecting themselves, and they are vulnerable in some way. They might appear to be timid or lack confidence in some way. A hard target is the opposite. A hard target is someone who is paying attention to what's going on around them. They move confidently and with purpose. They appear decisive in their body language. And so that's someone that, if I'm a bad guy and I'm going to pick somebody to pick on, I'm going to choose the easier target. And that's somebody who looks like they're not paying attention.
Makes sense.
Secondly, as far as being aware of your surroundings, this one's easy to do because all you have to do is just pay attention to what's going on around you. If I'm going to go ahead and say it, if you're engrossed in your phone or if you're wearing headphones, you are not aware of your surroundings. You can't pay attention.
Are there going to be a couple of older students that are going to have their headphones on in social media during this, do you think?
Of course.
I think that's like the no-brainer. You got to put the cell phone away and take off the headphones. You know what I mean?
You do, but I see people all the time that are like, they're actually holding a conversation with another person and yet they have headphones in. And I always look at it and I think, how are you doing that? So I don't know, but it's not a good idea. And look, even if your headphones are just in your ears and they're not playing anything, again, the bad guy is looking for the soft target. And if he thinks you're not paying attention, he's going to go for you over someone who does look like they're paying attention. So back to the situational awareness. You can be You can be situationally aware just by kind of looking around and being aware of what's going on, but you get extra credit if you also do things ahead of time to be prepared for a situation like a school shooting. Things like studying a map of your school building and campus so that you know where the exits are, where there are potential escape routes, know how to operate door and window locks, know where fire extinguishers are, that kind of thing. So you're just preparing yourself ahead of time.
Thursday Night Football is on, and it's only on Prime Video.
Brilliant, just brilliant.
This week, the West Coast action heats up when the Rams meet the Seahawks in a huge divisional showdown. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with football's best party, TNF Tonight, presented by Verizon. And don't miss the Broncos and Chiefs on Christmas night. It's Thursday Night Football, only on Prime Video. Not a Prime member? Not a problem. Simply sign up for a 30-day free trial. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
REI Co-op presents a perfect outdoor moment with the perfect gift. Picture this. You're ripping with your favorite person. Bluebird skies, blower powder, and frankly, you're skiing like legends.
So sick. Another lap?
Thanks to REI's curation, from lid to sticks, you nailed the gift.
No way. How'd you know?
Does it get more perfect than that? Give without guessing. Shop in store or visit rei.com.
Man, I'm going to tell you, we've talked about some things that we can do ahead of time to be prepared, but and what to expect as far as the chaos. But let's just get to the meat of it. Tell us what we should be doing once the event like this is actually happening.
Okay, so this is the most important part. There will not be a test at the end of this, but if there was, this would be on it. All right, so the basic steps are run, hide, fight. And I'm gonna get to that in a second, but let's talk about immediate actions. What you do as soon as you realize that there's an active shooter. So first of all, you have to remain calm. This is where your brain's going, oh my gosh, like something is happening. And then your survivor mindset that you've already been working on kicks in, and you're saying, okay, I accept that something very bad is happening or about to happen. I'm gonna get through this. Then I want you to immediately silence your phone and any other source of noise. Why? Because if a bad guy's coming to look for you and you're trying to hide, but he hears your phone or he hears something else, then you're giving yourself away. If it is safe to call or text 911, do it immediately. You're starting that 10-minute clock, right, that we talked about. So as soon as someone can tell the authorities what's going on and, hey, we need help, the sooner they can get there to diffuse the situation. Now, calling 911 is good, but maybe you can't because you need to be quiet. Some states do have a text to 911 option. So here's a little homework assignment for your listeners. When you're done listening to the podcast, just go online and check to see if in your locality, if they have that text to 911 option. It's something you should know anyway, whether there's a school shooting or not. And then the last immediate action to keep in mind is that you just have to do something. Take some type of action, whether it's to run, hide, or fight, because first of all, studies show that people who do act actually tend to recover better mentally and emotionally because there isn't as much of that feeling of like survivor's guilt, like, why didn't I do anything? I could have done something to help myself or my friends. So if you do something, it's better than nothing. And don't underestimate the impact that just one person can make. You kind of talked about it earlier with the paintball, like, oh man, that hurts. Like, could I even, am I even capable of doing something? You can do anything. And as long as it's something, it might be enough to get the gunman's attention away, or it might be enough to get him to run away or just go look somewhere else, and you may be saving people. There was a shooter in 2015 at a community college in Oregon, and the shooter was able to corner a group of people. And I wasn't there. This is a terrible situation. I'm certainly not criticizing anything that those people did or didn't do. Most of them were probably in a state of panic and just couldn't do anything in the moment. But this gunman was able to reload his weapon 4 times and just continue shooting people. But if maybe if someone had said something or thrown something or whatever, maybe there could have been fewer casualties.
Man, I gotta tell you, as I get so enthralled, I immediately kind of think that, if I was in a very similar situation and it was my youngest or any of my kids there or anyone I love, I really just hope I have the I don't know, the courage, the passion to just run in there, take the bullets, do all these things. But it's that same part when you think about it, it's almost you visualized everything you just said, and it is hard to get into that mental state when you are the victim there and you're not trying to run in and save someone. So it does make you think a lot about what you said, and I think it's good to prepare about it, because when it does happen, if it does happen on a plane or when you go to the supermarket or it is a school shooting, it's just, I don't think you could suddenly just flip a switch if you don't think about these things. So I'm loving this conversation. So let me ask this question. Tell us about this run, hide, fight. I want to know more about this because it sounds interesting.
Yes, good. This is an important one.
Okay.
So a handful of years ago, the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI worked together to develop a response protocol, and it's called Run, Hide, Fight, and it exists to help people remember what they should do during an attack. It's kind of like, remember when we were kids and you would do like the fire was like stop, drop, and roll?
Yes.
Same thing, right? So you think like, oh my gosh, there's a fire, my clothes are on fire, what do I do? Stop, drop, and roll. And it's like, you've already thought through it, you've rehearsed it in your mind. It's kind of like a catchy little phrase.
Yeah.
So it's so that you know what to do when your brain is already like, oh my God, what do I do? So this goes in your survivor mindset toolbox as well. Run, hide, fight. Okay, so run, hide, fight means that you should always try to flee to safety first. Your first step is to try to run and just get the heck out of there.
Okay.
If that is impossible, you hide behind cover. If hiding isn't an option, or if maybe you were hiding but then you were discovered, then you have to fight. Unfortunately, with the drills that schools do, most of them don't practice the run portion of it. They don't practice evacuation. They just go straight to hide drills, which is basically a shelter in place. So the drill is that the teacher closes and locks the door, covers the window, turns off the lights, and everybody gets into a corner. That's okay. It's not nothing. At least you're doing something. But really, if you realize an attack is happening or about to happen, just get the heck out of there as fast as you can. Don't hesitate. Just run. Leave your belongings behind. Leave the class pet behind. Leave whatever. Leave whatever your flip-flops behind, because they're not going to be good for running. Just get the heck out of there. Don't take an elevator if there's an elevator. If there are people that need help and it's not a risk to your own safety, you can help them. But survivor mindset, you yourself are surviving. This is about you at this point. You're preserving your own life. As you exit the building, it's a good idea to keep your empty hands on top of your head, because if there aren't first responders there already, they will be there soon. And when the police are coming to the scene of a crime, they don't know who the suspect is at that. And so they're trying to assess the situation. They probably don't have very much information, and all they're seeing is people running out of the building. So to them, anyone could be a suspect. Make it very apparent that you are not the threat by putting your hands on your head and doing exactly what they say. Now, here's another thing to expect. You're probably going to have police weapons pointed at you if you're leaving a school. And that's not pleasant, but just know that that's probably going to happen because they're trying to figure out who the bad guy is. And then one other note as you're leaving, if you're out in the open, like in a field, and you're being shot at, run in a zigzag pattern a little bit, like a few steps one way, a few steps the other way, because that's going to make it harder for someone to hit you with a bullet.
I'm loving those tips. Okay. Hey, literally, let's take a time out because I have 1 minute left on your Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to edit them together. So I need to start another Zoom meeting. So I guess Michelle did a 40-minute Zoom workplace, and I need to just do the rest. So don't worry. But by the way, I'm going to wait till this eggs off in less than a minute. Great job over there, dude. I'm loving this. You know, I don't even know where to go because it's like everything you're saying, I'm just hoping I'm that person. I'm hoping I have the mindset. I'm hoping but it's funny because I'm the parent. I'm not there. And I would just wonder, it is really hard to listen to these tips. So they're really good tips,
Yeah, it is hard, but you know what? I mean, like this could happen anywhere. So it's not just a school. So
yeah,
unfortunately, you might need the information another time in another place.
Okay, so we got the run, the hide, the fight, but let me just come up with something. Let's say you can't get out of the building. Maybe the exits are blocked or the shooter is too close and you can't risk it. Okay, what do you do then?
All right, so if you can't get out, then you try to hide. Get into a room, lock and barricade the doors, put something heavy against the doors, turn off the lights, cover and lock the windows, and do your best to stay out of sight of the doorway. A lot of schools have an area that's already marked off that with like tape or something on the floor that's called a blind corner or a safe corner, which means that if you're behind that line, you can't be seen from the door. So get in that corner. If the attacker is using a gun or explosives like grenades, both bullets and shrapnel will go through a wall that's made of drywall.
Yeah.
So you need to think about taking cover where, behind something that is actually going to stop a bullet. Now, most schools, I think, are in the areas where I've been anyway, are built out of like cinder blocks. So those are pretty good for stopping bullets. They're not usually just regular drywall like you would find in your house.
Yeah.
But you need to protect yourself behind more than just like a regular wall or a door, because that's not necessarily going to stop a bullet. So
you said grenades. Are we going over the top here? I mean, has there been documented cases that these shooters come with grenades, or are we just being super
grenades, yes, but also other improvised explosive devices which are basically just homemade bombs. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's possible. I mean, I don't think that they're certainly not used in the majority of school shootings, but have they been employed before? Yes. So it's just something.
Oh, you sounded very military there. That was very military right there. Okay, I love that. Okay, good.
So when you're looking for something to hide behind, you want to make sure that it's going to be like heavy enough or substantial enough to block a bullet.
Okay. Another thing hiding under your desk would not be the move right there.
No, it wouldn't.
I heard that sometimes when they're trying to be proactive, and I love people being proactive, they may have told the kids in class to, hey, hide under your desk. It's not an earthquake, but I don't know. Is that the best move, hiding under your desk?
It's the best move if there are no other options.
Okay.
So it's something, and something is better than nothing, but I would still try to get out of there. And then if I can't get out of there, I would try to hide behind something more substantial than like a student desk. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Another thing,
I'm getting into this.
All right. Are you taking notes?
Yeah.
All right. So when bullets ricochet, meaning if a bullet hits a hard surface, it can ricochet, which means kind of that it like bounces off of it.
Okay.
But if it hits a hard surface like a floor or a wall, it doesn't just like bounce right off and go the other way. It actually hugs the floor or wall. So if you're trying to hide, you want to try to crouch down to the floor. Don't lay flat on the floor with your head down, because if a bullet does come in and ricochet, it's just going to slide along the floor and then hit you. So it's better to crouch where only like your feet are on the floor, not your entire head.
Okay.
Now, if you can't get behind something that is going to actually protect your body, like a cinder block wall or a heavy piece of furniture, then at least conceal yourself from sight. So go into a dark room, get underneath something. Maybe it is under a desk. Maybe it's under, I don't know, like behind a curtain. Maybe this is very dark.
Yes,
get under a dead body.
Wow.
Or if there is not a body to lay under, just play dead. Just lay there and look like you're already dead, and maybe they won't shoot you.
I'll give you that play dead. I mean, I do watch too many movies. I may do that move. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, that's the one where it's like, okay, with all the chaos going on, I don't think the shooter is going to be checking pulses to see who's alive, So, all right. I like that. I like that one quite a bit. So I'm going to take it even up a notch for you. So, if none of that works, like you can't get into a hiding place or the shooter is, I'm getting a little palpitations there. It's right in front of you. What do you do then?
Well, this is the hardest thing for most people to think about. Because most people don't want to inflict violence on another person. But here's your survivor mindset again. If you are truly in a it's him or it's me situation where either you're going to die or either you're going to die or you're going to have to fight. And so it's not a pleasant thing to think about, but you might have to do it.
But, we're talking about kids, right? That was the whole theme here. And I know we use that term very broadly, but they might feel pretty helpless. I know our kids are tough, but to take on an adult attacker, I mean, am I saying this right? Isn't this going to be hard for them?
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. But you can fight as a team. So think about it this way. If you're a bad guy and then all of a sudden you've got a classroom full of 25 kids throwing books and erasers and pens at you, that's going to make you stop for a second and at least try to get out of there or something. You're going to do something. You're distracted at that point. So a good thing to do is to overwhelm the attacker from all sides, catch him off guard, like when he first walks into the room, or if he's pausing to reload his weapon. Your goal here is to disrupt or incapacitate the shooter. So throw anything you can at him. Throw books, backpacks, water bottles, anything. Scream at him while you're doing this, because that's going to disorient him. You're creating chaos. If you can use a weapon of opportunity, which is an object that is not a weapon, but it could be used as one, like a baseball bat or something like that. If you can, do it. So one thing that you could use is a fire extinguisher. Take it off the wall and spray it in his face. Or maybe if you have one of those canned air things, spray that in his face. You can hit him with a chair. If he's close enough, you can attack the areas of his bodies that are the most vulnerable. So I remember that you think nose, nuts, knees. Nose means the face, especially the eyes and nose. Nuts, you know what that means. Mm-hmm. Knees means you kick out the back of his knees, which will get him to the ground. And then once he's there, if you keep kicking him, and if you can, try to kick any weapons and ammunition away from him so that he can't get back to it.
Oh my God, there's so many things that you have to do here. So I'll say this. So I listened to every word you said. So you want, if you're in a group of kids, show force, be a hard target, right? That's the whole thought, because they're like, why would I want to go into this room? They're throwing things at me, yelling things at me. I love that. And I think you taught Mina the nose, nuts, knees. I think that's what you were doing in the room. But
it's important for any young lady to know, Raj.
Yeah, I'm telling you. But I think in my dreams, that's what I want to do. I want to save someone's life. I want to be a hero. And I do imagine the weapon of opportunity. I hope I grab the fire extinguisher and use that as the weapon, not even spray it, dude. That would be my dream.
Absolutely. Good. There, you just got an extra credit point. Yes, that is another really good one.
So, okay. So I feel like, doing all that would require all that we just talked about, that's an enormous amount of bravery and courage, and not everyone would be able to react like that when they're scared. And that's why I just had to ask you this question. There's chaos all around you. So what about the people who aren't going to actually engage with the bad guy? Okay. So let's say I'm that person, most likely.
So first of all, you're not, because you're already here listening to these tips. So you're already so much better prepared than most people. Thanks. But you're absolutely right. Not everybody is going to be aggressive. Probably 80% of the people are just going to be in complete panic and either frozen or in shock, screaming, whatever. So not everybody's going to be able to be the aggressive person who's going to go after this guy. Yeah. But everyone can do something. You can yell, the cops are here. Even if they're not here, it doesn't matter. You're just trying to distract him.
Nice.
Or hey, over here, or hey, what's that? Just yell at him.
Yeah.
You can be the person who is calling 911 and calmly giving information. That's obviously a huge help.
That's hero right there. That's a hero.
That's hero.
Right there.
That is hero. That is hero level.
Yeah.
And if all else fails and you can't do anything, that's okay. But at a very minimum, don't add to the problem. So just stay calm and stay quiet and don't get in the way. Just try not to add to the problem.
So I'm just trying to summarize all these great tips. So is the theme here, even in a very, very bad situation, everyone should feel empowered to do something, right?
Absolutely. And every single one of us has the capacity to be a leader. And this is something that I tell my coaching clients when I'm doing my leadership coaching. Even if you don't have authority or confidence or knowledge, you can always lead by example. And in a very, very bad situation like this, others will see that you're doing the right thing or you are doing something, and that might inspire them to also do something. And if you can come together, especially for kids who maybe feel unempowered or they just are totally at a loss for what to do, they can work together to try to do something to get a very bad situation to end.
You know, Becca, I got to tell you, I was going to make this maybe half an hour, but I kind of like chatting with you. I think you're awesome.
Thanks, Raj. I think you're awesome.
And I was going to say that, I hope everyone today, I know it's a different theme for the Dr. Raj podcast. It's always about happiness and wellness. I know today it was like, okay, let's talk about school shootings, but it's just something I was passionate about. And obviously you are someone I felt could help others, and you do. I want to make sure they can find out more about you because we mentioned it really early in the podcast. It will be in the show notes, but if they want to learn about you and all the amazing things that you could teach them and what you do, where would they find you?
My website is thelikableLeader.com. So that's where you would find information about my leadership coaching. And I'll just reiterate, for the course that I put together on surviving a school shooting, that's available at Udemy, udemy.com.
Oh, well, and we're going to have that in the show notes. And Becca, once again, you are just awesome. And you know what? I'm going to definitely kind of bring you back to do something else because I had a blast with this. Are you cool with that?
I'm so in.
I love it. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to this week's Dr. Raj podcast. We will be back again in 2 weeks. Take care, especially with the holidays around the corner.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Dr. Raj podcast. If you enjoy the show, then please make sure to follow us on your favorite podcast app and leave a rating while you're there. This show is for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. This has been a production of MedPrep2Go, and you can learn more at medprep2go.com.